Hey everyone, this is Mike Andes, and you're listening to the Business Bootcamp podcast. Today I'm going to be sharing exactly what I've been going through as a business owner and the training I've been receiving this past week as I prepare to acquire another company. So before the show though, big thank you to today's sponsor. And they are wrapping up this promotion, so if you haven't taken advantage of it, you gotta check this out. It's cashflowtool.com/bootcamp. They're giving you, as a listener of Business Bootcamp podcast, a free trial of the software and a discount if you go forward with their subscription. And Cashflow Tool is a tool allowing you to track the cash flow of your business and see and predict when you need to watch your cash flow when it goes too low. Today we're going to be talking about the adolescent period of a business, and during that period of growth and rapid growth and lots of change in your business, it's incredibly important to keep track of your cash flow, as it is really one of the main reasons why small businesses that are growing and seemingly successful actually fail and have to close their doors because they don't watch their cash flow. The beautiful thing about cashflowtool.com is it just integrates so seamlessly with QuickBooks. You don't have to do any data entry whatsoever. It just overlays into QuickBooks, takes the data right from there, and makes a beautiful dashboard there on QuickBooks. And it also gives you live what if analysis. So that means like you can actually adjust in there, like what if you pay certain invoices later, and allows you to really take action based upon, okay, if I paid this credit card bill 3 days later, how is that going to affect my cash flow? And my bills, when I pay those, how is it going to affect my cash flow? So it allows you to track all of that and move those things around, ensuring that you don't go cash dry in a season when you're growing fast and needing lots of resources. Check it out today, cashflowtool.com/bootcamp. It's an absolute no-brainer if you have QuickBooks. So check it out, cashflowtool.com/bootcamp. Now, today is really, I don't have any notes. I'm just kind of talking about some of the things I've been thinking about today. Again, I'm recording this in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Actually, Woodbury is the closer city where I'm at. And I've been doing training for Anytime Fitness at the corporate headquarters here. As you all know, I'm buying and acquiring one of their gyms. And so being able to go through the franchise process, learning a lot as far as how franchisor, franchisee, the training, etc., which is going to be really valuable for me going forward. This whole week, that's what I've been doing. So they're just wrapping up here. It's late Thursday night right now, and we have one more day tomorrow of training. Then I fly back late tomorrow into Vancouver. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really, really looking forward to testing my hypothesis and of the value of club culture, the value of a company's culture, the value of a team culture for an organization. And so you know how much, if you listen to the podcast at all, you realize how important it is to me, team culture, and the importance of trust within an employee-employer relationship and the team that you create. And that is really what has been lacking at this club, and is what we're trying to implement. And so day one, July 16th, when I take ownership, we're going to be firing some people. We're going to be hiring some more different people. It's going to be a massive amount of change, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a whole different level of community engagement. And as I get more and more into business, though, like I just got off the phone with my office manager. I was talking to her on the phone. And she was just wrapping up her day over in Washington. So I was chatting with her, but I was just saying, like, the more and more I get into business, the more and more I realize it's the same thing, regardless of industry. Like, it's the same, like, there's numbers to it. There's different line items in a P&L, and every industry is a little bit different. But, like, at the end of the day, business is just, it's not simple. In fact, it's very complex, but it's just very pattern. There's so many patterns, and there's just different names in different industries, but it's all the same. It's the same concept. That's why you look at entrepreneurs that can do things in so many different industries, because they've gotten the game of business and they know how it works. And it's just different words, different terminology to different industries, but it's the same concepts. And so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I've worked with multiple gym owners that have listened to the podcast and worked with them through Business Bootcamp podcast over the past 3.5 years of running the podcast, and which is crazy. It's been 3.5 years, but I've worked with several gym owners, and so it's kind of cool now. Like I get to test all the things I talked about, and do it all. And so it's fun for me because I really haven't started something new like this for 4 years. And so it's a lot of fun. It's something like I started the course and I started landscapebusinesscourse.com and the podcast around that. But that's all like online digital stuff, and it's been successful. But since Augusta, I've never opened up another location, uh, retail wise. Like I've opened up multiple Augusta locations, but not a different business. So this is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And like I said, I really want to test out the hypothesis that I've spit here for the past 3.5 years of team building and club culture and employee customer service and all the things that we go into, the scoreboard thing that we talked about in the last episode, testing that, and really looking forward to that. So that's kind of where that is all at, and that's why I'm training here this week. But what I want to talk about today is really more about actually my landscaping company and where it's at as a business. And it's interesting because when you talk about like adolescence or puberty for someone that's going through their teenage years, you all automatically think of someone that's growing rapidly and things are changing so fast. And there can be times when there's so much change even a human body where you get stretch marks or you get aches and you get pains. And the same thing goes for a business when they're going through that phase of rapid growth, and you've hit 1 million in revenue. You're starting to really scale. You're starting to brand recognition in your community, and you really start to see the company taking off and really taking lead for its own and really beginning to guide itself without your direct involvement. So as you would grow a child, and you would rear them in the ways that they should be living, and that you take them to school and you teach them how to walk and you teach them how to eat, watch them ride a bicycle for the first time. But then as they grow 10, 11, 12, 13, and they start making decisions on their own, 14, 15, and they go through puberty, starting to go through adolescence, and there's growth and there's change, and they start to take on their own identity. And it's amazing. Even though I've never been a parent, I'm sure it's amazing to see that growth and to see the changes and then begin to see them make decisions on their own without your direct involvement. Because when they were smaller, they had to rely on you for the coat, to put their coat on and to tie their shoes and to help them eat and to help them go to the bathroom, help them brush their teeth and help them go to bed. And now all of a sudden they're 14, 15, 16. They start making those decisions for themselves and doing those things without your direct involvement. And I don't know what it's like to be as a parent, but I think it's really the same thing as a business owner, small business owner. As you grow the business and your first year, 2 years, and you're in the business every single day and you're working, and then you start hiring people and then you start getting management, and then you really start to see the business begin to grow without you, and you begin to see it start to walk and thrive and live without your direct involvement. And really the essence of me leaving the past week, that's really what it's been for me, is like really being able to cherish the moments of seeing other people within the organization and seeing them grow, and the managers really take their spot within the company and take leadership positions and fill those spots that I used to do. And I've always held on to sales for a long time. And this week, three of our estimators are out doing estimates and selling big projects. There was a project went out today. I think it was like $33,000. They sold four today. I think 3 or 4 jobs today that were like 5,000 plus. So like those are special moments to look at that and be like, I didn't have anything to do with that. I only gave the systems, I created the procedures, I trained staff, I created manuals, and now it's like it's having a life of its own, and that's super cool. It's super rewarding, and it's also a very fragile point in the life cycle of a business to be at that adolescent phase. Even in the physical a human, as they're growing through that phase, they're susceptible to so many things, whether it be from mental health to insecurities to lack of experience and maturity to going through those growing pains and having acne and all the things that go along with adolescence and puberty. But the same thing goes for business. There's growth pains. There's times when it's like you don't have much cash flow, and that's why I recommend this cash flow tool thing, because it's like their cash flow is a big issue when you're growing so fast. And we're just wrapping up June right now, and it was our biggest month by over like 25-30% that we've ever had in the landscaping company. And knowing that our goal is to even top that even later in the year, when usually this is like, May, June is our biggest months typically for landscaping companies. And it's just so interesting to see that progression. But during this time, when it's so nice to stand back and see the company growing and seeing people take ownership and take positions within the company and begin to lead their crew and lead a location, and seeing that all happen and seeing the company thrive without your day-to-day involvement, it's super cool, it's super awesome. And then it's also a very fragile point for a business because you're growing so fast, and we are growing so fast, and we're hiring so many people. It doesn't take a lot for a business to get knocked off cater. And so I really feel like it's an exciting and yet a very fragile point in a human's life when they're going through adolescence. And it's a time when, as a teenager, things can, like, they're like wet cement. Whatever is impressed on them during that time, they're susceptible to trends and fads and what is the newest and greatest fashion and what everyone the popular opinion is. And it's a very susceptible time when it's like wet cement. Whatever's impressed on them, they become. And a small business is the same way. And so if you have a small business that is going through the same phase, and usually this happens like when you really start to hit stride. And it's a funny thing, it's like you're hitting stride and you're hitting stride, but yet at the same time, you know that you're at a very vulnerable place because you're growing so fast. The cash flow isn't there necessarily, and you're still a small enough team where losing 3 or 4 people could hurt you. You're not susceptible necessarily to one person. Like that's always really nice when you know you could lose anyone in your team and probably be okay. Like you'll figure it out, you'll get over it. That's a nice place, but it's still you're a small business. You only have 10, 20, 30 people. Like it's small, and so it's a vulnerable point, but yet so exciting. Like this past week to see them to really, like, I make a phone call or two a day to touch base with them, and if they have questions, they can always check in with me. But they know what to do. They've been empowered to make those decisions and the big decisions, whether it be customer service or sales, and making decisions on big projects. Like they know what to do, and so it's very rewarding to see that taking place. Augusta's only less than 4.5 years old, and yet it's really got to that place relatively quickly. And the growth that we're on right now is like somewhere between probably around 30 to 50%. We've ranged for the past several months, and that will be the continual growth this remainder of this year. Just really really quick growth for a landscaping company. It's not like a tech company, but it's been fun, and you go through that phase of rapid growth. And during that phase, there's some things you got to watch. In a human's diet, it's important. For a human, exercise is important. For a human, social interactions is important during that phase of adolescence, during that phase of puberty when so much is changing, and they might feel awkward sometimes, and things like that are happening socially. It's important time of a human's life. And so for a business, it's important to have that team atmosphere, to have that very unique bond. I was actually here. Let me actually pull my phone out. I was texting my team, and talking about here. Let's see here. I was just touching base with them, and I actually mentioned, because I was talking about, I was texting them and just updating them on, June being our biggest month, and just handing out some thank yous and things like that. And really, I was just kind of celebrating the fact, I said that, everyone has pulled together in a big way as one cohesive unit. I said, this is rare in our industry, like beyond rare. And so I'm thankful for that. And I really look forward to taking the same ethos that we've used to build that company and transform this gym, the same thing that I've taught to so many of you listening that have changed your business and turned it around. It's been a lot of fun. And it's the same way for an adolescent going through puberty and going through the teenage years. Their diet is so important, what they're eating on. What is your team eating on? What are you feeding on? What are you feeding yourself in audio? What are you feeding yourself from books? What are you feeding from your relationships? What is your diet when it comes to business? And are you growing and taking enough nutrients in to sustain your growth. Cash is like nutrients, but more importantly, education and how you are feeding yourself with inspiration and the different influences that you are having from mentors or from other business owners or from the community and network that you have. Those are the nutrients your body, your business needs to sustain its growth. So I would be encouraging, if you're growing and your business is growing and it's growing fast and you're starting to feel growing pains and you're starting to feel the stretch marks of adolescence in your business, make sure you're feeding the right things. Listening to this podcast, I know most of you are probably feeding on the right things. You're getting the nutrients. What about the exercise? Are you getting the reps? Are you actually going to your business, actually doing things? People can theorize, and I've learned this a lot this past week at Anytime Fitness. People can theorize a whole lot about working out and going to the gym and lifting weights and running a marathon, but they got to go actually into the gym and start doing reps, and that is exercise. And in your business, when it's adolescence, you got to be exercising, you got to be working out, you got to be building those muscles, you got to be utilizing those growing ligaments of your body to make sure that they don't get sore and they don't start to hurt. And the same thing goes for your business. As you're growing and you're scaling up, you got to make sure you go in there and do reps. It's not enough to just listen to me here on the podcast. It's not enough to read the books and get the information and get the nutrients. And you got to go out and do reps. You got to actually go try this stuff in your business. You got to listen to the last episode we made about how do you create team meetings, how do you have team meetings. Listen to it and then go do it. Go get the reps in. During this time of adolescence in your business, when you're growing fast and you're scaling up, you got to go get the reps. You got to go implement what we talk about here on the podcast. And I promise you, over the past 240 some odd episodes, there's been too many people listen to this podcast, hear it, theorize it, like it, and not do anything about it. And they come to the period of adolescence in their business, and because they don't put the reps in, they feel the growing pains and they begin to fail. Begin to sit and be idle instead of going out and doing and exercising the muscles that have begun to grow. You got to exercise the muscle of your business as it grows. You can't just let it sit. You can't just expect it to grow without exercising it. So what does that mean? You got to put stress on it. You got to try new things. You got to create new systems. You got to have the things that you hear on the podcast or from books. You got to go implement those things. Those are the weights. Those are the stressors. Those are the new changes that you've got to implement in your business to make sure it continues to live a healthy a life like a muscle. It needs stress. It needs weight. It needs repetition. It needs constant improvement in order to continually grow. And that's what you have to do for your business. The nutrients are important. The exercise is important. Sleep is important. The factor of the social interactions within an adolescent is important. And the same thing in your business. That team culture is so important as you get 10, 15, 20, 30 employees. In the next, I really genuinely believe the next 2 years we'll probably have 50 people underneath, the companies that I'm running. And so as that begins to happen, what is the social interaction that you're having within that adolescent business? And small business, until you hit 50, 100, 200, 300, 400 people, you're still a small business. And so what are those social interactions? And so I really start to think about that. I know a lot of you are in the small, starting out. I'd say more than half of the people who listen to this are under $500,000 in revenue. But as you start to hit that $1 million marker, you start to feel the momentum. You start to have middle level management. You're hitting 2 million now. Now you're starting to be able to step away from the business. You're hitting 3 million. Like as you grow like that, and you're hitting adolescence, don't take your foot off the pedal. Don't stop the exercising. Don't stop eating correctly. When it comes to business, like I said, it's the books, it's the education, and then it's going out and doing. It's the repetition, it's the stress, it's the new changes, new implementation. Even this week, as I'm gone here in Minneapolis, I've already thought about several things that I'm taking back to my company, for the landscaping company even, and implementing and making changes and using repetition in the same way that you would as an adolescent, as a human being, go into a gym and do exercises and do movements and lift weights and make stress on your body in order to grow and thrive and become stronger. The same thing is for my business. I'm going to be going back. We're implementing new systems, new procedures. I've ordered equipment, so when I get back, it's ready to go. Implementing the scoreboard system, even at the landscaping company. And then I have like pages of changes I need to make at the gym, pages from a business standpoint, from a facility standpoint, from a social media and marketing standpoint. And those are the weights, those are the stressors. And because I've been taking the diet, as I'm away, I'm constantly thinking, writing notes, taking account of looking at numbers as I have a little more time while I'm away, be able to look at the numbers, look at the P&Ls for the landscaping company, for the gym, and I'm taking in data. I'm taking in nutrients. I'm taking in the vegetables. I'm taking in the chicken. I'm taking in the beef. I'm eating all the nutrients, but now it's time to go back into the gym. It's time to go back and use those nutrients to create repetitions and changes and stresses on my business. So many people get complacent when they get into the place where their business is starting to get a little bit successful, and because of it, they fail to put stress on it. They fail to implement new things. Try new ideas, try to create efficiencies, try to create better models, try to create a more lean way of manufacturing something. They stop trying to create more stress on the company by taking out too many man hours and trying to create better ways of doing things, more efficient ways of creating customer relationships. And so don't get complacent. When you hit adolescence, you're only just starting the game. You're literally in like the first inning of a long 9-inning game. And so I think so many people get to the adolescent phase in their business. They hit that 7-figure mark. They start making $200,000-$300,000 a month in their revenue and business, and they start hitting that. They're hitting adolescence, but they're failing to realize they have such a long life in front of them. The business life cycle is so much longer, and there's so much more ahead of them. So I promise you today, if you're going through that period, I know it's tough. I know there's growing pains. I know there's hurts. I know there's stretching. There's times it seems like you might get stretch marks and there's scars, but get through it and continually grow. Take in nutrients, exercise the muscle, and I promise you, you'll get through it. You'll grow, you'll become stronger, and you'll be better because of it. You've been listening to the Business Bootcamp Podcast. I'm Mike Andes. Until next time, be great, because nothing else pays.